guys, it's Elizabeth Love here and welcome to my YouTube channel, or welcome back if you are a regular. Today I have a very special video for you because I thought I would film my very first tutorial. And since I know a lot of you guys struggle with landscaping, and it's something that I really used to struggle with as well when I started building. My first couple of builds were honestly just a house on a patch of grass and one tree. I am not exaggerating that. So that's why I thought, you know what, I would have used this video well if I stumbled upon it when I started learning how to build. So I have 13 tips for you in this video. I hope you enjoy them. I will walk you through me landscaping one build which I have built previously, and then I just deleted all the landscaping just to be able to film this video. And I will give you the tips as we go. So I hope you enjoy it, hope it helps you out. And if you do enjoy the video, please make sure to like, comment and subscribe. It really means the world to me. Thank you so much for your support and enjoy the video.
Alright, so let's get into this. Now, the first things that you're gonna do is firstly to turn on Sims 3 camera, which you can do in camera settings in your settings. And you're gonna wanna type in 3 cheats as well. So to open the cheat console, you just press Ctrl, Shift and C. And you're going to want to enter 3 cheats. Firstly, bb.moveObjects, which will allow you to place objects freely. Then you type in bb.showHiddenObjects, which will unlock unlockables from the world, such as frogs or produce. And lastly, you want to type in bb.showLiveEditObjects, which unlocks the objects from the world editing that we do not usually have access to, that is used in the different worlds. And one of the most important things when it comes to landscaping is to press the Alt key when you're placing something down, and then you can also rotate it with the Sims 3 camera as you want, so it doesn't only lock you on the 8 different directions, but you can place it at any degree that you want. The Alt key is really a game changer, guys. Don't forget to use that one. Now that you have that, the first thing that I like to do is to figure out the layout. So here you can see me adding a pool. There's a little picnic table in the back, or really not a picnic table, more like a patio table. And I like to figure out the paths as the first thing. So you can see me terrain painting them on. You can of course use floor tiles, but I just prefer the terrain paint. It looks more natural to me. The edges are softer. And now that I have that done, what I would like to do is I basically start from inside out when I landscape. So I work my way from the build out. So firstly, as you can see, I did place the pool and like a little back patio area. And now I'm just starting to place some plants, which I do from the inside out, as I said. And this is quite a big lot, so it took a little while to fill it. But my next step when it comes to plants is to size them up and down, because in nature, no plants really grow to the same size. So even though the jump between a smaller and a bigger size for one of those plants that we can find in The Sims is much larger than you would generally have in nature, I think it adds a bit more of a dynamic perspective. And when you're placing down plants and trees and everything, make sure to look at the world around you. I'm building this in Newcrest, so sometimes you can peek into the plants that are off the edge of the lot in like that little picnic area just behind it. And that's quite helpful. Just try and, fit it into the world. Make sure it doesn't look out of place. And another important thing to consider is who lives in the build. If you have a family with 3 children, it's going to be something different than if like a starting celebrity lives there alone. So for this particular build, even though it is on the inside a 1-bedroom build, I did build it as if it was like a family with 1 kid. Because I didn't really consider the build that I built for this, because it's a very old one and the version of it that I'm using is like half furnished anyways. For the purpose of this video, I am using a family home, a small family home. But if you download it from the gallery, it's actually not. I hope that makes sense. But you should always consider who lives there, because if you have like a slob living in the house, you want a pretty manicured garden. And you could see me add a little bit of a wall plant back there, and that's actually a base game debug wall plant. So that's the debug menu that we access thanks to one of the cheats. And to look at those objects, which now I'm placing some trees from the debug menu, you just have to search debug. That's it. And it's gonna come up with plenty of objects that are just named debug, and you can place them around the world. The problem is you can't search within it, and there's hundreds of objects. So it takes a little while to get a hang of. I still take so long trying to figure out what to place and finding objects. Anyways, now that we are almost finished placing down the trees, which a good tip, guys, if you have a build on a budget, the debug menu is really handy because the objects don't cost anything. And usually when you're moving into like a house, you probably have like a tree in the backyard that wouldn't cost you anything because it's already there. So in my opinion, it's not cheating to use some debug plants if you're building on a budget. So do consider that if, you know, your Sims budget is a little sparse. And now I am actually placing down the fence, which some people do this first. I like to do this like one of the last things. And the reason is I'm building from the inside out. I started placing plants from the build and I'm reaching towards the outside and I'm getting to the fence slowly as we progress. This will allow me to blend it in naturally, and I just prefer to do it this way because it gives me a bit more time to figure out, you know, what kind of fence is even gonna be there. And yeah, I just placed some lights in the backyard. Guys, don't forget to place lights in the backyard. It's really unrealistic not to have any there, so make sure you don't forget about that. And I'm just adding like a little swing set in a minute, which will kind of fill in a, oh yeah, and I added a bike, which will fill in a little spot on the side of the house so that it doesn't look as empty, same as I'm adding a little pool floaty and making it look a little bit more lived in rather than just like a house with plenty of plants. So do consider who lives there when you're placing down objects like this, because for this build I would put down some planter pots or things like that, but I don't think the person living here is a gardener or anything like that, so that wouldn't really make sense for me and the build wouldn't be as playable. Around the trees I always like to add plants to sort of blend them in a little bit more. If there is like a plant patch near the tree, I like to sort of blend it into the existing patch, and you know, wherever there's a free space that I don't know what to do with, I just add a bunch of plants and it ends up looking quite okay. So yeah, number one landscaping tip, just add a bunch of plants. And those, you know, lavender and then like the grass plants that are sort of prolonged go really well alongside fences. You can see me placing them there, and they are really great for lining fences. So if you are looking for a way to make your fence blend in, do add those because they are definitely life-changing when it comes to making your yard look realistic. Coming back to the fence, if you do not have a gate, which is one thing that I struggled with this one, it doesn't have a gate, just leave it open in the front. You know, it's probably not the most practical because like in real life you wouldn't even need the fence at all if you do that, but you know, in The Sims it makes it look a little more realistic without disrupting it with an ugly gate that doesn't even belong there. We are getting quite close to the end, just a couple of last tips. One that I didn't do here but that looks good in some builds is adding little stones around the path to sort of line it and make it look, you know, manicured and pretty. So if you're doing like a rich person build or something like that, that may be a good idea. I do it in some builds, but for this one it didn't really make that much sense. One sort of overarching tip that you probably should take from this video, because I've been doing it the whole time, is to place items irregularly. You know, don't follow the grid. Always press the Alt key, which will allow you to place the items away from the grid. That is like the number one thing. And once you have all your plants placed, you will want to add some terrain paint around them to make them look a bit more natural. Add some dirt patches around so that it doesn't look like they're growing from grass, which they usually aren't. And for the swing set, I'm also adding a little dirt patch. And now I'm just moving on to the screenshot. This is the before and here's the after. So I hope these tips were helpful, guys, and that they gave you some ideas. Please like, comment and subscribe if you have enjoyed this video, because it helps me out a lot. It helps me know which content you guys enjoy and what I should create in the future. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter or Instagram, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!